want to start off by saying and make sure everybody understands that we are trying to develop an ACST early adopters program. So it's not going to be product specific. So what that means is that we will need to know, we want someone to be able to say, hey, I want to be for this product, but maybe not another product of ours that they have. So it does need to be per product. And then also with that, being that we could have multiple products and somebody would say they do want to be in EAP for multiple products, we also need to know who do we need to contact for, let's just say, ministry platform versus growth or go, and if they're that customer. So we need to know per product and know who to contact from that for that particular product, because it could be two different people based on their role.
Right.
And Realm Accounting a different product from Realm?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Just want to make sure, because I know we wanted to split those two out.
Absolutely. So that's a whole different user too, right? And so we want to make sure. So in that case, anyway, yes.
Now, does it matter what account they're on? We really only care about the contact, because there's a different couple ways we can come at this. Because technically the contact's not tied to an account, so we can tie it straight to the contact, or what we would have to do otherwise is tie it to basically an account, the account contact relation table. So we just kind of have to know what angle to come at it.
Yeah, I would think it would be based on the site, because if you have a person working multiple sites, I know one of our trainers has 2 churches that he does, and one church might not want to be in that program, whereas he's a contact at church B, and that church wants to be part of the program for accounting.
Now okay, but that goes back to, does the account become early adopter, or is it just the contact the early adopter?
It's the contact on the account, so it's both.
Okay. Specific to the link table, essentially. Because just so y'all know, Salesforce has contact and then it has account, but there's a link table that exists between two, because one contact can be multiple accounts. So we'd actually have to put that relation on that middle one, so we track the contact and the account. So.
Okay.
Why would this be on the contact? This seems like it would just be on the account.
Well, the reason why you have to know who is because we're sending out surveys and campaign emails to the person who's actually testing, for lack of a better word, just is testing that whatever feature we have in the early adopter program at the moment. So it would need to get to the right person to answer survey questions and know who at that site is using it.
Okay, just with the understanding that, regardless of which contact it is, that it's on for that account. So
right.
It doesn't matter which user is actually using it. It's on for that site.
So if one user is on the EAP program, would technically the entire account is?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So for that clarification, really the reason that we need to know the contact is for communication only.
Right.
Nah, sorry, I'm asking a clarifying question because we're just trying to figure out how to model all this. Is there only one contact for the account, or can multiple contacts be EAP contacts?
That's a great question. You could, so from a product standpoint, you can have multiple accounting users logging into Realm Accounting. All those users are going to see whatever feature is being showcased in the EAP program at the moment. However, for communication, like Darcy was saying, if we wanted to send a survey, it would go to the whatever contact actually signed up for the program. They would be kind of the lead person leading that effort for that particular product.
I would say yes, that you would need to have multiple contacts be able to sign up per account.
Okay. Yeah, because one of our thoughts was we could actually just put a contact on the asset itself. So then that would have, the asset will have the account, it'll have the product on it, and then it would have that one contact. But if there needs to be multiple, then that changes, then we have to look at it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking if there is only one. But, and if I heard yes, but I would go ahead and do minis. I just didn't know if y'all had already decided if it's one period or not. So we'll just go with the plan that it will be multiple.
And let me just speak to the multiple aspect of it a little bit and how I see this. We're going to try to limit the numbers to begin with, but I think about even the work that we've done around gaining contacts around usability or validating information for us. We capture multiple people from each site to give us feedback. And so this is just another form of feedback mechanism. So I just think to help in the future where this could go, you need to think through being able to have multiple contacts per account for this program.
And we would have to make sure that we identify the account that they are tied to, so that if there are contacts with multiple accounts, we've attached it to the right, we've attached the right contact to the right account as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that leads into one of our questions, Scott, is how do these people sign up? Because that determines a lot of stuff too. So how do you go into whatever or calls to whatever product and say, I want to be in the early adopter? Is that going to be in product, or do they have to call y'all? Y'all going to send out a form and say, fill out this form and sign up? We just need to know how that data is coming to Salesforce.
Right now it's a manual process, but the ultimate goal is for there to be some kind of mechanism, an automated way for the client to either call support and say, hey, I want to be a part of this program, or they can see it. Bob and I talked about having a mechanism within each product where they can just go into, for example, for realm accounting, they can go into ledger setup, and there's if they're already part of the program, they'll see that on the settings page. Hey, I'm an early adopter. Okay, cool. But if not, a way to turn that on themselves if they want to. Really, anyone in the company can turn this on for a ministry partner. If it's an ACST person, they could go into their account in Salesforce, turn it on, and some kind of way at some point in time, it magically, I know that's not real, but some kind of job runs to where it will turn that on in the product, in the associated product. So when they log into realm accounting, they can see, oh yeah, they've turned it on for me. I'm good to go. I see my features.
I'll say Bob spoke of, he said it was off topic, but this actually brings it on topic. IT has Obelisk. So we wrote the full integration platform we've been running. We've got Go using it now, so R&D is starting to consume it. Bob's team, I forgot who wrote it. They wrote something called ITOB, which allows Realm to consume it, but y'all have access to all that data. So if y'all wanted to put it in product and make a checkbox, there will be some steps y'all have to do to get it there, but we can easily make that available to you to do in product. And y'all can request the data on the fly. We wouldn't even have to run a job. It would just be if they loaded that page, you'd call Salesforce and Salesforce would tell you if they exist or not. So hopefully we've made that super easy for y'all to do. So
and And just to clarify, manual means right now, if or when this launches, a client can email or call someone at ACS, maybe that's a rep or a sales rep or a support engineer, they're going to call in and those people can sign them up. And is there any sort of permission that needs to be enforced to say you have the ability to do that for your account or not? Or so I guess there's two questions there. Is it going to be what is manual, and then what are some of the requirements around that, I guess?
So yeah, right. We can just keep every other one. We'll just keep answering.
All right.
The manual process today is right. You're right on. They just need to raise their hand and they need to and anybody can add them. Right now it's managed into a spreadsheet. And so a Google Sheet. And once that is ready in Salesforce, then we'll take what's in that spreadsheet and update it manually. But then moving forward, we do want some automation. So just to speak to the now. But for that, we don't look for any special permissions to say, hey, I want to be a part of this program or not. That is just something that we're trusting them with, and that they're making that commitment themselves to say, hey, we, for this product and for this organization, we want to be a part of this moving forward. We're not looking for there to be like have full admin or limited, or I can't even remember all those options that we have on a contact.
Yeah, sorry, Scott. I think the only restriction we'll have to have is you have to be a contact on the account, but that's just a Salesforce thing. And that's like I alluded to earlier with ITOB and Obelisk, that'll just be one step y'all have to take, is if they sign up in product, doesn't guarantee they're a contact on the account. So you'll have to take that extra step of making them a contact on the account, which you have access to do. It's no big deal. Just keep in mind, we do have like duplicate rules and some other stuff, but I can work with y'all to get that in. So we've done it a number of times, 3 different things. So we've done it a time or 2. But we can just say, as long as you're a contact on the account, you can sign up. So.
Okay.
Oh goodness, I forgot what I was going to ask. If somebody wants to unsubscribe from this, that's going to be a routine as well in product. And if I call in and say, we don't want this anymore, they can unsubscribe the same ways.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Whatever flag is in product, they can turn it on or off.
But then I also for internally, like if somebody wants to turn them off in Salesforce, they can turn them off in Salesforce and it'll update on product side, right? So it's not something that we're going to enable it for. Ideally, we want to enable it for our end users to be able to opt in and opt out. But in the event they call into support or even on the phone with sales and say, hey, I really want to be a part of it, that someone internally can go into Salesforce and turn it on. They don't have to go through product.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense, turning it on or turning it off if they do it. So that goes back to which one is the source of truth. And I think that's one of the questions we had from last week, Patrick.
Correct. Because one of my things was it'd be easy to turn on and off if y'all checked basically against Salesforce. So like if they logged in, just see if they have the flag enabled when they log in. Otherwise, it becomes a process where we have to push data down the realm. I still think everything should start basically at Salesforce. Well, not necessarily start at Salesforce, but we need to figure out the mechanism to enable, disable on per product. So typically I push very much to when they log in, Bob's used to it. You check all your security flags when you log in, and this is just one you need to check maybe against Salesforce when they log in, or store it on your side, but verify it every now and then. I don't know. We can do it many different ways. We can even create a flow on our side that says when they disable it, we then tell Realm it's been disabled. It just depends on how you want to do it on your side.
Yeah, I think there's so I think there is a couple of pieces that are up in the air right now because we really don't have it fully worked out how Realm's even going to do this. Because one of the ideas is we have experiments, right? We use this we have a service called experiments where we can they're like the feature flags, right? So the dev teams will create a feature flag for a feature, and it's that code is isolated behind that flag, and so if they want to just turn it on for a couple clients, that's what they do. They put it behind a feature flag, turn it on for a couple clients, put it out in production. It's in there, it's good. So the EAP program is the idea is to use this to do that, but on a grander scheme, and the fact that they're part of this quote program, right? And the program might have a bunch of features associated with it. So right now we don't have an idea. We don't have it fully worked out exactly how that's going to work. If this is like a two-way thing where they turn it on from within Salesforce and it needs to do something in our product to do something with several feature flags, that is a call that you guys would have to make to us to do that somehow. So I don't know. There's probably, the other way is to say, is to just have it contain, we did want it just contained in Salesforce, with Salesforce being the source of truth for these flags, right? For these, for whether they're in the program or not. But then, I guess we could also at login check to see if they have these, if they're in the program via Salesforce call. And then ourselves go through and figure out which experiments they need to have turned on based on some mechanism that we have internally to do that. So because there's some things that are up in the air and that haven't been fully worked out yet, I'm not sure about the interaction both ways, if there needs to be interaction from you guys to us, or if it's just we're calling you and then doing some stuff. And then I also had a question about like if this is going on like the contact or some kind of linking record on the contact, what obelisk call would this be a part of? Like, would I have to pull all the contacts back for an account in order to search for that, or is this going to be on the get account request, or where would that be?
So typically how this will work will be, we'll create a get call on the object itself. So if we create a whole new object, you can just say, give me all the EAP on this account, basically. So you'll narrow it down, because we'll have to link it to the account. So you'll have that option to be able to request the account. So.
Okay, cool.
We can do, I think we can add in site number in the get request. Are y'all storing the Salesforce ID of the account in Realm? I know.
Yeah, I believe we do.
That would be the easiest way, if I could just say use the Salesforce account ID, or I can add an extra parameter to do site number. But if you had the ID, that'd be the easiest way to get them.
I think we do, but I'm not 100% sure. And if we do, it's probably stored in a field that's called SalesLogic's account ID.
Yeah, we're still trying to get rid of those too. But we can also take all the technical stuff to another meeting, especially if y'all haven't quite figured out on y'all side. So, cool.
I would just remind you guys that this is not just for Realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's our whole philosophy. That's why we're doing it as a linked object. I don't care the product really is how we're building this. It's just like there's an EAP, there's a contact, and there's some product you're tied to. So we're trying not to get bogged down into the whole Realm thing. So
yeah, so that kind of goes back to the point against having a Salesforce calling into any of our products to do this, because it's like, well, what do I do there? I mean, I guess based upon which program they're entering, which product you need to call, but still that does kind of make it more difficult on the IT side, I guess, that Salesforce interaction versus having the products kind of build that some way into it to handle it.
Yeah, and I will say this is the reason why we created about called IT. The reason we created Obelisk is so Salesforce could truly be the source of truth and anybody can talk to it. So, because I'm trying to get us out of the whole reconciliation game. I know, Bob, you've been there too. We have 5,000 reconciliations that update data nowadays, but we now have the platforms that all our systems should be able to talk back to, so we don't need a reconciliation if everything talks to each other, basically. So is the whole philosophy I've been pushing for a while now, because I hate reconciliations. So you're one goof away from updating a whole bunch of weird stuff.
So I know this is,
Go ahead.
sorry, I know this is a technical thing, but it sounds like we're saying it's best if in product, we're just displaying what value is in Salesforce instead of giving them the ability to turn on and off inside product. Then
No, I wasn't saying that.
okay.
I mean, you could still do that. It's just what I was saying is that it might be better to have the interactions with Salesforce be contained within the product and not have IT create some kind of callback into the products to do something. Like if they turned it on from their side and it needed the products, whatever product it is, needed something done in its database or flipped or whatever, instead of having them make a call to do that, to fully do that all the way, have that product be built in such a way so that when they come in and check to see if they're in that program, it's contained in there and it knows what to do, right? It does whatever it needs to do inside it. It just has to check for that EAP flag every time.
Okay.
Which, we'd have to do that anyway.
It sounds like we're going to go the model route. Bob, are you okay, or have someone on your team when we go to build this model that we tap one of y'all so that we can kind of work together on building this out for what you'll want on it, basically?
Sure. Right now it's a team of one, buddy. So at least from development side. I don't know if I'll get a team assigned to it. I hope so. That'd be good.
Yeah, and we can help build some business logic around some stuff, but I just wanted to involve y'all. So if a lot of times we'll just delete stuff, but maybe y'all want history. So if you want to do a disable instead of delete, some of these nitty gritty little questions. So.
Oh yeah, complications. Yeah.
Is there anything that EAP will be tied to as far as other departments may need? Like, is there anything associated with billing? Would MSM need this data into Tango? Is there any accounting or training implementation requirements that you guys know of today, or that you may have a vision for in the future? Anything that could help us today see into the future would be great. I mean, we don't want to put ourselves in a box early on.
So when I had the conversation, when we had the conversation early on with Janet, she did want this information into Tango. That was one thing that she did mention. But from I just try to remember what you listed out there. From a billing perspective, this is not something that we expect, that we'll be charging for. But from like a sales perspective or training or implementation, my crystal ball doesn't tell me or like have any foresight that they would need anything from their end. And I believe, was there anything else that you asked that I didn't cover?
I think that covered the biggest part of that. We're going to put a flag or a banner of some sort in Salesforce.com for support reps or anybody really that brings up that account, or even, I think we talked about cases too. If it has a case with that product on it and they're subscribed to the the EAP program, for that particular product, it would show that on the case for reps. I think we discussed that. As far as anybody else, we weren't really sure if there was another need there, but it's good to know that, Tatango data is going to be needed. I talked with Kenny, and he didn't foresee anything telephone wise, routing wise. He didn't see anything special that he would need other than something that says this client may be enrolled in this program for this product.
Yeah, I will say, just for you guys to understand, what we tried to do when you brought up Kenny, is that we tried to lean in to most of our standard processes for this. So we didn't have to create new workflows or business rules for our teams, meaning across the board team, ACS team.
Cool.
Now, I heard them into Scott's earlier, because you mentioned, Darcy, I think it was you, mentioned y'all may want to send emails and stuff to them. Are y'all going to be sending that, or are y'all going to tap marketing to send it? The reason I ask is because they're implementing account engagement right now. So if you want marketing to do it, we have to make sure this object can get over to marketing too. Or is that just something y'all are going to keep contained in R&D?
It's going to be ministry success and R&D.
Okay. Which probably means to Tango if it's ministry success. So that should be easier. So that's fine. I don't see why Tango wouldn't be able to get this data in. We're actually trying to get to Tango right now, hooked directly to Salesforce. So.
All right. Alicia, do you see anything that we might have missed? Questions that we may have missed there? Anything that we discussed last week, but we may have missed?
So. I was going through my notes, and I know I missed the beginning. I'm so sorry. I apologize. But I'm sure you covered them because they're the same. They're some of the same things that are here. So.
Who are the data R&D banner data warehouse fit? What's VC card? Never mind.
I'm not sure. VC card. I don't know what that was. Yeah, and you guys are going to communicate this out, I assume. I think that's what we put on here. Any communication to the other departments and other teams, you guys are going to handle that. Is that right?
Yeah, and so we're trying to get through this transaction attachments like beta season to flesh out some of the inner workings of it. These kind of conversations are good too. And then we'll be rolling it out in a more public fashion, so to speak, after we get through this first iteration.
Do y'all have a timeline, Darcy?
So the timeline was to get this transaction attachments, get the EAP documented, get it through transaction attachments or a project this year to try it on. And then the idea is throughout, if other things have come up, like MFA, if there's other things that we can put through it in a trial stat of this year, let's do that. And so really it's more leaning into it next year. Well, then wait, let me say one more thing. For this year, after we get through transaction attachments, we do want to start having conversations with MP because they have an early adopters program, and it's slightly different than this one. And so what we want to do is have one, like I said at the beginning. And so we are going to have conversations of what does that look like to understand, to close those gaps. But meanwhile, it's really in 2024 is when we really want to officially launch and market this program. to our ministry partners. And then this is where the reliance on it being, available in Salesforce and us to track it there, and then us to be able to pull it in product and get that work scheduled. And so we really want to then formalize it next year, have one system, not two, meaning MP bring them in, and then we want to use it for Mission Insight next year when we launch the overhaul, and then also start implementing it with other products like Go and Growth.
That sounds good. I guess,
But if you were looking for me to say a date so then you guys can schedule your work, I'm trying to be flexible, and we'll be flexible around when y'all can get this on your schedule. We're trying.
yeah, my thing though, I was like, we could create the object and actually probably have it out there for you pretty quick. We'll need some dev work, API access to it, but that revolves around probably a technical conversation with Alicia, Bob, maybe, and myself to figure out exactly how y'all want to use it. So, because obviously that can change the scope pretty quick. So,
do you think that when you guys look at what MP is doing, that's going to change how things are going to be done? How you guys are going to be doing things as we've discussed so far? I mean, do you know of anything in particular? I don't know. That seems a little scary to me.
I know. So my crystal ball tells me this process that we've talked about with you guys today and how we would track it will not change. But there'll be processes within the program that will change. So let me give you an example. Currently, they have 11 of their clients that are part of the early adopters program. But for everything they're going to put, every feature that they're going to put through early adopters, they then ask them, hey, of you 11, which ones do you want to participate in this particular one? And so then they allow them to say, oh, only 3 of them. And then they create forums, and then they support just those 3. And that is a management nightmare for our product owners and support to understand so something there's got to be a middle ground, because the way that we've designed this one is that you're in or you're out. We're not going to handhold every single one of them for every single thing we're going to release. To Bob's point earlier, even though one user raised their hand, all users get it. And that's the same way that it happens at MP. It's just that they get to pick and choose of the things that are going through early adopters, which ones they want to participate in. And then forums are created and managed and then deprecated through so some of that it's okay at the scale of 11, but when you're going to have 50 for round or more, it's just not scalable. So those are the type of processes that I feel like we'll have to come in line with. Not how we would track it, so to speak.
Gotcha.
I know we're over time, but I'm sorry, Darcy, you just said something else that made me think. Is there ever going to be an instance with early adopters that you're going to want early adopt to this feature, but not that feature in a application, or is it all or nothing?
Yeah. So the way that we're going and we're trying to lean into is it's all or nothing.
Okay. That would make my life easier. So.
Ours too, Patrick. My product owners are spending an exorbitant amount of time managing the uniqueness of MP, of that, saying, oh, for this feature I want it, but for this one I don't, or for this feature I do. And it's not the best use of our time.
I'll share billing with you sometime too. We can just share headaches.
Somebody mentioned that this is much like Fast Track, and I went and looked that up in the old wiki and found out that there was some criteria around Fast Track. I don't know if you guys knew that or if you'd heard that before, but they had this in Sales Logics at some point in time called Fast Track, and I didn't know. Yeah, it's it's something similar to what we're talking about here. I think Lisa identified that when we met last week or the week before. Yeah. I just dropped that in here. I can share this out with you guys if you need it. We just want to make sure that we were all on the right page to make sure that we had all the requirements. If anything changes, please let us know. If you have any questions or problems or just need to chat, holler at us. We'll be
I have
glad.
one last question.
Yeah.
Do we need to track when they sign up for the program? Like, do we need to know how long they've been a part of the EAP programs, or is that something we can capture in product? I don't know. That's just something I'm not sure if that would be important.
Well, for Salesforce, it always has a created date on every object just
Okay.
out of the box. So if you're okay going, now if we add a disable enable, or are you going to want to track when they disable, when they enable?
No.
We can do whatever you want on that case. I would say simpler the better, but that's just preference on my side. So,
Yeah, that's good.
Seeing
Seeing the created data is fine. I just wanted to make sure there was some kind of way we knew.
And we can actually track historical data on specific fields too. So if you're okay looking at it that way, we could actually say, you can actually see in their history if they disabled and enabled. Just depends on how you want to do that.
Two reasons I ask. One is it'd be great to know if this person's been early adopting for us for, so long. Maybe we give some prizes or something. I don't know. But the other thing is, in this first attachments EAP, we have it in a spreadsheet, and the initial invite to clients was a set of clients that we have in our user research database. And there was a mechanism by which the survey was sent out. It was an invitation. If they opted in via the survey, then we had a way to capture that information and send them an automated response. Thank you for signing up. This is great. And then later we sent another email saying, okay, you're going to see this feature and product on this date. And that all worked well. But then once that went out and we closed the SurveyMonkey link, then I started getting requests in from various people in the company, which is great. I put those people in the spreadsheet, but then I'm like, oh, there's really no automated way once I add these people in here to say thank you for signing up. I kind of have to wait for a period of time until I get a collection, or else I'm just spending all my time sending emails. I got to wait and get a collection. And then I have to know, oh, these here above this line already got their email. These are new people that just signed up that need the email, the thank you for signing up email. So that's why I was interested in the date. If there's some kind of way we can know in Tatango, like when they signed up, a way to extract, okay, if the people, and maybe it's just all automated at some point. Whenever they sign up, boom, we're able to immediately send out. I'm just trying to think through the communication piece, because I've struggled with it a little bit with the manual process. When do I, because right now I'm having to put in a ministry success request, and I don't want to put one in for, onesie twosie. I want to collect a certain number of them and say, okay, send this set a thank you email. But I'm just trying to visualize from a communication standpoint, once we get it automated, what are the possibilities is it from Salesforce? Is it from Tatango? Can we use it based on the date they sign up? I don't know what the possibilities are, but.
And when you say set, you're meaning product, right? Like how many people signed up for this particular product or feature in you guys are doing it by
They're doing
product.
it, yeah.
Right.
So if they signed up for Realm Accounting, they'd already signed up for Realm, but now they signed up for Realm Accounting. You are saying like, I would like to be able to, the system could automatically or automatically send an email that says, thanks for signing up. Here's what you could look for, right?
Right.
Any other automations or anything that, just thinking that's a good point. Like, what can we do around those types of things? But yeah.
And I'll say, Rhonda, we can do any of those. So, I mean, it's time. Honestly, I would say it's timing. So if you wanted to send it as soon as they signed up, we could do it in Salesforce, because Tatango right now only does once a day. So I think they can trigger on new, but that only goes in I think it's every 24 hours. I'd have to double check with the info team. They're working on that now. But if you wanted it, like as soon as they signed up, we could put a trigger in Salesforce. So
No, not necessarily. I'm good if there is, a slight, 24 hours, that's fine. But just some way to know, to send them a thank you. Hey, we got you. You're signed up now. Thank you for, being a part of this program. And then knowing who you've already sent it to, as long as we can know that some way.
So you wouldn't want to send it to the same person if they signed up for a different product, basically.
Well, no, that's fine too. I'm thinking of, okay, we now have transaction attachments. Let's just pretend it's all automated. I've had 15 people come in and sign up for EAP for accounting. So the wording of the email is going to be tailored slightly. We do have email templates where the wording is pretty much reusable, except for, a certain piece. Thank you for signing up for Early Adopters Program for accounting. And so I've got 15 people that signed up. Well, and we've turned on attachments, the attachments feature in the EAP program. We've magically said attachments is part of EAP. So the people that are already in the database as EAP, when they log in at a certain time, we'll send them communication and say, hey, on the 8th or the 20th, when you log in as an early adopter, you're going to see this feature. Well, then after that, we've got a few more stragglers that come in that sign up for it. I'm just trying to think through the communication process. At that point, I'm trying to think, do we send multiple communications or just one? Because I'm trying to think in the future, do we send them a thank you and then send them another one that says, oh, by the way, attachments is what we're currently showcasing as part of this program? That's how we're doing it now. But it's two separate email communications. One is a thank you, and then one is, this is what you're going to see right now in the Early Adopters Program.
I kind of envision that being a welcome to the program email, and then any new features that you add, that would be like a list that got sent to, like you guys are Ministry Success, that said, you're part of this program. Here's something that you could look forward to. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that sound right? Because I don't know, Patrick.
I would say the contents of the email are irrelevant, no offense, at the moment.
Okay.
Let's just say yes, we can send emails. We'll have dates.
Gotcha.
You can go back, and if you want to do it, that just lock up.
Gotcha.
So,
No.
I froze.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we can send email. I mean, that's kind of what the Tango's used for today, is doing a lot of that stuff. So I can't imagine there would not be a way they could say, for the last 24 hours, give me all the new people, because they will have that created date. That's just something we'll get out of the box. And if for some reason that doesn't work out, we can create a trigger on when they're created. We'll send emails from Salesforce. So,
Cool. Sounds like Tatango can handle it all, so that's awesome.
yeah, and Salesforce actually gives us a ton of flexibility to kind of do whatever we want, for good or for bad. So, but one of my favorite things is we can trigger as soon as something's created. new. So
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry for that long-winded explanation.
we will get you emails.
Hey, I gotta drop too, guys. Patrick, we can get up about technical stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna follow up with Alicia. We're gonna sketch out the design of how we think it'll look, and then I'll have that, get that with Scott, and then get that to you to add whatever you think y'all will need. We will have to have a technical meeting soon-ish to, once y'all decide how y'all want to handle it, so that we can support you on our side.
Thanks, man.
Great.
Thanks, guys. Have a great
Thank
day.
you,
Thank you
guys.
for your time.
See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.